is a wet summer night here in South Florida, but the good news, the Marlins haven't had a home rainout since 2011. Marlins Park is dry and comfortable and ready to host these two NL East teams, the New York Mets and the Miami Marlins, in a first of a three-game series. Hi, everybody. In for Paul Severino. I'm Craig Benavino, along with Todd Hollingsworth, of course. Welcome to the ball game. Big news this afternoon around Marlinsville, and that is the trade of first baseman Justin Bour. A couple of roster moves to get into as well that we'll be talking about throughout the ball game.
Well, listen, for Justin Bour, I think it's a great opportunity. He gets to go to a team that contends. You see that it's a great opportunity. Here he was kind of biding time, maybe putting up some individual numbers, helping this team grow. In Philadelphia, he's got obviously an opportunity to win, and I think that should ignite his flame and certainly hopefully gets him going and certainly more consistent with a chance to win.
Kyle Bearclaw, 10-day DL, lower back stiffness. Drew Rosinski is back. Rafael Ortega called up from AAA. He'll be in the lineup tonight. We'll get into that in a moment. Amazing how quickly Bour got into that Philly uniform and cap. He might have some fun there at Citizens Bank Park. All right, let's talk about the Mets pitcher. And boy, Zach Wheeler, how about the season he is coming on with, especially of late there, Tom?
Well, and if you ask a Mets fan who the best Mets pitcher is in the month of August or of late, I think you have to answer that question with Zach Wheeler, not DeGrom, not Syndergaard. No, Zach Wheeler. He's the one that's been getting it done. He's been the one that's been going out there and getting wins for a team with only 47 wins. He's won his last 4 starts, so that tells you how good he's been with a Mets offense that has at times struggled this season.
Powerful pitcher. He's got some good stuff, and he is coming on. Battled some injuries in his career. He was quiet and didn't even pitch at all in 2015 and 2016, but you look at those numbers, that's something the Marlins will have to deal with. And the Mets will have to deal with Jose Urena, and the Marlins hope they get a very good Urena in this game here tonight.
Well, and I think there's a great chance for that. If you remember his last start, well, let's not remember his last start. That was in Philadelphia. I'm talking about his last home start. It was a good one. It was his first win of the season here at Marlins Park against the Nationals. 6 innings, 1 hit, no earned runs. That's what you're feeding off of, and that's what you hope to see tonight from Urena.
Good matchup, Mets-Marlins. It's 5-4 right now in favor of the visitors, but Marlins have a good run. They've won 4 of the last 5. Well, more coming up with Justin Bour. Mike Hill's comments when we go to Jessica and Nelly right after this. We go out to center field. Big news today. More on that with Jessica and Jeff.
Thanks so much, Craig. The Marlins and the Mets getting ready to kick off a 3-game series here at Marlins Park. But for Miami, a familiar face will no longer be in the lineup. Nelly Justenborg traded to the Phillies earlier today.
Yeah, and you have to wonder why. I mean, this guy had control, under team control. It wasn't going to be a free agent until 2021. This game, you know, when you're blessed with an opportunity to play in the major leagues, you have to make the most of it. You can never be complacent or take it for granted. You always have to work to be the best player you can possibly be, because there's always that guy behind you that's going to try to take your spot. And you got to say, no way, I'm going to be here for 10 years. I think he had that opportunity here, and I want to say that I think he let it go.
Here is Marlins team president of baseball operations, Mike Hill, with more details on today's trade.
We've been out front and talking about the type of players that we think fit organizationally for us moving forward. We like athletes, like players who are going to impact the ball on both sides of the ball, offensive, defensively, base running, good athletes. And with trading Justin, we saw an opportunity to add a quality left-handed upper-level starting pitcher. And then also, free up. We'll move Dietrich in to the infield, and as Brinson and Cooper return to health, an opportunity to get them more playing time as well.
Well, there you have it. I mean, it just didn't fit in the Marlins' future, the direction they're going in. And they saw an opportunity. They added a power lefty. He's going to go to Double-A. You can never have enough pitching. And I think with Justenborg, yes, you wish him well in Philadelphia, whether he plays first or comes off the bench. But as a Marlin, you saw what kind of year he had last year. Only played in 108 games, and he did pretty well. You were wondering, hey, what's this guy going to be like in 145 or maybe 160 games? It just didn't work out for him here.
And at the end of the day, whatever moves have been made, the Marlins have to focus on playing a game tonight and trying to get into the win column. They've dropped 8 of their last 9. Coming up, we're going to be mic'd up with Perry Hill inside the Boneyard with Marlins first base coach Bone.
Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By W.B. Mason, who but W.B. Mason, the official office supply company of the Miami Marlins. By Chevrolet, see your South Florida dealer today. And by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota. Let's go places. Welcome back to Marlins Park. And look at this, Holly. We got a staring contest between Luis Cormier of the Mets on the right and Adam Conley on the left.
Yeah, it's an anthem standoff. I love to see these. They're an awful lot of fun, but who's going to give in first? That's the question.
They went for, what would you say, 4 minutes?
Oh, at least 4 or 5 minutes, and right up until the team started to take the field, for crying out loud, and Cormier, I think, wins.
And he gets, look at this, Todd Frazier, a hug, he's high-fiving, the guy can hit a home run here.
That's right.
Oh, my. All right, here's the New York Mets lineup. You know they've been struggling. Here we go. Brought to you by Southwest. Ahmad Rosario leading off at shortstop. Jeff McNeil called up and doing a great job at second base for them. Flores, Conforto, Nemo, the middle three. Todd Frazier over at third. Austin Jackson has come over here. He's in over 400 as a Met. Plawecki all in front of Zach Wheeler.
And on the mound for the Marlins tonight, Jose Urena making his team-leading 23rd start, 123 innings, 101 strikeouts, impressive, 36 walks. He's been able to keep those in check. His last 2 starts, in some ways, might sum up his season. Last start, August 4th, against the Philadelphia Phillies, 5 innings, 8 hits, 6 earned runs, gave up 3 home runs in that start, and all 3 home runs led to the 6 runs he gave up. 7 of the 8 hits against him on his fastball. Now, with that being said, you move back a start prior to that, 6 innings, 1 hit, no earned runs, right here at Marlins Park. His first win at Marlins Park in 2018.
1-0 pitch to Rosario. That fastball tails down low. Yeah, which Urena are you going to get is the question for the Marlins. He has had, some of these numbers are very good. In fact, some are better than last year as he gets a strike. His whip is slightly better, but very respectable. Walks and hits over innings pitched. A little less than last year, better than the league average. Fastball driven up the middle. That's a quick base hit for Ahmad Rosario. He has given up more of those, though, Todd, this year with the defense. The opponents hitting 21 points higher against him than last year.
Well, let's get you the Marlins defensively for this evening's ball game. Ortega making his first start with the Marlins in left, Sierra in center, Anderson over in right, Prado, Rojas, Castro, and Dietrich at first base, making his 7th start of the season, 23rd of his career. Oh, by the way, no errors at first base, and JT Realmuto behind the plate. Now, to answer your question, I look at it. Urena has gotten more aggressive this year, and it's been good, I think, in some instances, although there are times that when he falls behind, splitting the plate at 95-96 has really been what his kind of default is to when he falls behind, and he's been made to pay for that. You go back to his last start, as I just mentioned. 8 hits allowed, 3 home runs. 7 of the 8 hits in his last start came on his fastball.
Jeff McNeil, left-handed hitter, called up recently and has done very well. He was a 12th round draft pick of the Mets in 2013. And he just batted his way here to the big leagues. He had a combined 342 at Double-A and Triple-A this year at the time of his call-up with some slug. He had 19 homers and 71 RBIs, 617 slugging. He drills that one deep to center field, but playable for Sierra for the first out. For Urena, his 15th start at home this year. Todd mentioned last time out was a good one here at home. His first victory is 1-8. His ERA is actually a run lower at home than it is on the road.
That's a more forgiving ballpark than most parks around baseball. We certainly have seen this on the homestand.
His strikeout to walk ratio has also improved this year by a significant number. 2.8 last year, or this year rather, 1.8 last year.
Well, and I think when you watch Urena pitch, it isn't about who he is or what his stuff is. I think we're all impressed. He throws 95-97 with arm side run, good movement on the fastball. He's aggressive, he throws strikes. But it's the predictability that I think other major leaguers see in Urena. Now the question becomes, I'm going to throw you my fastball in this situation because it's 2-0 or it's 2-1. And you're looking for, the question is, can you do something with it? And of late, the hitters have been winning.
0-1 on Wilmer Flores in the number 3 spot. 10 homers this year for the Mets. Misses that. You can see he's throwing hard here early on, 95, and good location. Flores checking with home plate umpire Jerry Meals, the crew chief, see where that ball was. Did you like to do that? Ask the ump just to affirm or not if you went out of the strike zone?
I tried not to say too much to the umpires.
A lot of guys you see do that. They look, was that a strike? Was
I always wished I was better about that, and I suppose there were some guys that I would, but generally speaking, I just hesitated an awful lot. I didn't always like the answer.
There's the slider outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Rosario will run a little bit.
He's got 10 steals, 11 actually, and been caught 6 times. Driven over the first baseman's head in Dietrich, but he's able to back up and make the play for the second out. See, he's used to doing that because he's been going back in left field quite a bit.
That's right. He channeled his inner outfielder here. As he slides off the bag. It's funny how the game tests you right away when you make a position switch, right? He hasn't been over there in a while. Nice catch there for out number 2 in the first inning.
7th start of the year at first base for Derek Dietrich. Talked to Perry Hill about him today. He started working with him about 3 years ago over at first. And obviously it's an easier transition for Dietrich as Michael Conforto takes one outside than the outfield was, because he's been an infielder. Derek told me today, other than some footwork, there's a different way you throw, obviously. You're thrown away from you quite a bit. It's an easier transition for him to play some first because he's been a middle infielder, a little third as well, in all of his baseball life. We have a mic on Perry tonight, so we'll get to listen in when he's over at first base.
You see Bone giving him some instruction. Remember, Dietz, he's right-handed, and I think that's kind of what you're seeing, that tag angle. You'll see a lefty traditionally play closer to the bag because the ball and the glove, obviously the glove on the right hand for the lefty. That was always one advantage that I had. I didn't play a whole lot of first base until later in my career, but again, learning that, there was one thing, like, guys love to throw to first base with lefties over there because the righty's got to reach across his body to try to apply a tag to the base runner, where the lefty is just kind of waiting. You know, we talk about this at second base, like JT's throwing down, Starlin Castro kind of catches it right there. Now the first baseman who's left-handed can pull that off as well.
1-2 misses. Don Mattingly was talking about it today. It's the one position he said it's made for a lefty.
Yeah.
And then he said, you know, if Doubleday had started out with running to third base first, the whole game would have been for you guys.
Absolutely. Well, we would have changed it. Our lives would have been defined so differently, right? Growing up playing a game where you get to play, you know, technically 4 spots on a field.
He said clockwise makes some sense as the ball's driven out to center field. Sierra will grab it, and a good inning for Orania. Gives up the initial hit, but nothing after that. We go to the bottom of the first. We have a microphone on him. We'll listen a little bit during the games. He says hello, the friendly Perriel, to Ed Hickox, the first base umpire. Here's our Southwest lineups. As Magnarice Sierra gets in there, he'll lead it off for the Marlins, inning 200. Anderson, Realmuto, Dietrich over at first in that cleanup spot. Then it's Castro, Prado, Ortega. The bunt attempt goes back. His first look in the Marlins jersey. More on him in a moment. Miguel Rojas and then Jose Urena. And Zach Wheeler is on the mound. Boy, he's a good one.
Yeah, he certainly is, making his third start of 2018 versus the Marlins, and the first two have been pretty good.
Chopped to Frazier. Look where he was, not far from the pitcher's mound to make that play.
You see the numbers on the season. Making his 22nd start, 3.89 ERA. Quality starts in 12 of 21. On the road, he's been pretty good. 3-1 with a 3.81 ERA, 9 starts. Comes in 17-inning streak of not allowing an earned run. I mean, he's been rolling. That is the longest streak in the National League currently.
And there were some trade rumors flying toward the deadline. The Mets decided to keep him, though. And then last start out, he had 7 dominant innings against the Braves, his boyhood team, and the team he made his major league debut against back in 2013. It's just been so choppy, Todd, because of the injuries that he's had. He kind of fell off the radar as Anderson swings and misses, you know, in the thought of really good pitchers, and really never got going. And now maybe he's hitting his stride now at the age of 28.
Well, I'll tell you, it's almost like he fell into a dark shadow with the guys in this rotation who were taking all the attention between DeGrom and Syndergaard. Matt Harvey at times. He has been rolling, and you know, in all honesty, he's been throwing the ball the best over his last 4 or 5 starts. I'm talking better than DeGrom, better than Syndergaard. And to the point where the Mets raised the asking price on him because they knew how well he was going, and that what he was proving in his numbers, that it was sustainable. That's what I think the Mets fans are really excited about. This isn't a case where he got hot and he's just blowing hitters away. He's actually pitching much better than he really has at any point in his career.
And he gets Anderson for the strikeout and the second out of the inning.
All right, let's get to the AutoNation scouting report. Going streaking, well, he is on it, riding a 4-game winning streak since the All-Star break. 3 starts, 3-0, .90 ERA. I mean, he has been so good of late. 20 strikeouts in those 20 innings pitched, only 2 earned runs allowed, no home runs, 3 walks. As I said, better than DeGrom and Syndergaard. Now, leading off, here's the one area of major improvement. He has been knocking those leadoff hitters down in each inning. Last year, hitters were hitting .308 against him. His whip was .198 leading off an inning. Now, this season against him, .217. And he's striking out nearly 2-to-1. So much, much better. Less is more, and that's the thing that's impressed so many people. It's not that he's been using his overpowering fastball more. He's actually been using it less and using far less changeups. In fact, his last 2 starts, no changeups, more split finger fastball, more curveball.
Nearly a strikeout an inning, 126 now in 128 innings. Let's see if JT Realmuto could get back on track. This is strange to say he's in a slump because we haven't said it all year. He's had such a great year, but he has struggled of late.
Yeah, right man, right spot. I mean, this is he's got a 5-game hitting streak against the Mets. He's hitting .409 during that streak. See if he can't get going. You're right, and break out of that. Well, so far so good in just visually seeing JT. One thing that stood out over the last few games, much more aggressive outside the strike zone. He's been chasing pitches lately.
Well, he looks like he's concentrating on not doing that here. 3-1 pitch. That was a good pitch. Tough one, though. Slider. 3-2 now. Full count. And he's not a guy to walk a lot either.
Well, you got to remember this. JT certainly feels at times the burden that this offense has in scoring runs. JT takes that upon himself. Sometimes he can try to do too much. When you do that, you change your game. You try to go outside the strike zone, try to come up with a hit, or, you know, as we would say, and I say this kiddingly, trying to hit a 3-run home run with nobody on base.
Payoff pitch. He did go after that one. And he strikes out. So back-to-back strikeouts for Wheeler. And a 1-2-3 frame as we go to the second here at Marlins Park.
on the Mets. Arrive early to get your hands on a Marlins tropical jersey presented by DR Tourism. Purchase your tickets today at marlins.com/giveaways.
There it is. Good for your bowling team, maybe? Great. No, it's going to be a lot of fun to see that.
Planting flowers.
Absolutely. Very colorful. Quick ground ball from Nimmo right to Castro. Jose Ureña's going to like that. He is a native of the Dominican Republic as well. Here's Todd Frazier hitting 6th in the Met lineup. 10 homers, 33 RBIs for the Toms River, New Jersey native.
Well, Frazier has struggled this season in Mets uniform. Well, a little bit more so than probably people would have expected. You mentioned the 10 home runs, 5 at home, 5 on the road. Although on the road, he's only hitting 198 this season.
Battled some injuries himself, but this guy hit, as the case there, he hit 40 home runs only a couple of years ago. He'll sign a 2-year deal.
First strikeout of the ball game for Ureña. His 96-mile-an-hour fastball with the arm side run back to the outside corner. Great pitch. Frazier locked up, able to even attempt to foul that off.
Boy, that was an incredible pitch. That's the kind of pitch where if Ureña gets over the plate, that corner, he's just dominant.
Well, that's where you love to see him live.
Ureña hustling to try and make a play. It's a good athlete, but he can't get Austin Jackson yet another hit, this time infield variety for Jackson. 15 for 33 is a Met.
Yeah, I don't think any of us are surprised that Austin Jackson beats this out, right? When you're hot, everything goes your way. It's funny, you saw that second bounce, and I thought if it goes to the left and hits the dirt, it's going to be a foul ball, and it stayed to the right on the grass. And we knew as soon as it's going to stay to the right that Jackson would beat it out. Well, he's been their hottest Mets hitter since arriving. Jackson came on board mid-July. The Texas Rangers DFA'd him after getting him in a trade from the San Francisco Giants. He wasn't there long. In a few days.
He was here in this ballpark with the Giants earlier in the season, and the Mets are getting a good look at him.
Yeah, he's earning that look.
I mean, 2 homers, 8 ribbies.
Right, he's doing everything. I mean, this is a Mets team that has struggled for offense this season. Coming into the ball game tonight, you're right, the Marlins have scored 433 runs on the season. The Mets 439. So just a smidge better.
And that obviously is in the lower echelon. That one's ripped. Plawecki to center. Sierra's got a beat on it, though. And right at the base of the track, he makes the catch, makes it look easy doing it. And the inning is over. A hit, a man left. We go to the bottom of the second.
Mets defensively for tonight's ball game behind Wheeler. Conforto makes the start in left, Jackson in center, Nimmo in right, Frazier over at third, Rosario at short, McNeil makes the start at second base, Flores at first, and Loecki getting the start behind the plate. Let's see if the Marlins can get a few guys on base, maybe try to steal a base if they can. Plawecki's had some issues throwing guys out. 7 for 39 on the season, only 18%. 93 stolen bases against the Mets this season, second most in Major League Baseball. Problem is, Marlins only have 2 stolen bases since the All-Star break.
And you can't steal against the Marlins. They're on opposite ends of the spectrum.
Right.
Here's Derek Dietrich in that cleanup spot now.
Different day for Double D. Of late had been hitting out of the leadoff spot and playing left field. Now he's the 4-hitter and playing over at first base. Certainly looking to improve upon his career numbers. 4 hits out of the 4-hole.
450 slugging, that's second best only to JT Realmuto on the ball club. JT's at just over 500.
Got a career high 14 home runs.
And swing and a miss, so that is 3 strikeouts in a row now for Zach Wheeler.
I'll tell you what, that slider is sliding tonight. And you see the late movement. I mean, feels like almost crippling. It's tight, it's late, and it's hard at 90 miles an hour. Kind of see the defensive swings that the Marlins hitters have taken so far in an attempt to really just foul that pitch off. You're not going to do too much with it. So many of Wheeler's numbers have really improved this season, one of them being OPS. Last year, 828 against him. This season, only 647. It's a difference of 181 points. That is 5th best in Major League Baseball. So nobody's getting on base nearly as much, and boy, oh boy, they certainly aren't slugging against him.
Here's Starlin. Castro hitting .285 with 9 homers. Count of 1-1. He's been fun to watch. He comes to work every day, and Perriello was talking about this today, how hard he works in the infield, and he can even get on guys occasionally because he goes out there every day, gets his work in, takes that fastball in. I mean, he's been out there consistently for the Marlins, driving in some runs. He's played a very steady D and excellent the last few months, probably.
You're making some great points, Craig. You know, and I would bring it up like this. I've known Starlin basically his entire Major League life outside of a couple of years in New York. I was with him in Chicago, and in Chicago, he was a young man thrust into a very similar role. I'm not sure he was ready to lead when he was in Chicago, and I don't say that in a derogatory way. I just think that he was very young as well, but he was having the most success of the younger players, so people would kind of default to him leading. He moved on to New York, and he kind of got into a complimentary role.
Drives that one to right. Nimmo makes the catch. Second out.
Now, point being, I think this second time, with a little bit of a younger team, he's embraced it a bit more, and he's done a fantastic job with this Marlins group, being not only a leader on the field, playing great defense, playing good defense every day, but being a leader in that clubhouse.
Martin Prado hitting 6th for the Marlins. Homer, 13 RBIs in the season. Takes that good fastball, 96 for a strike.
One thing that's been impressive with Wheeler this season is he hasn't necessarily been striking out more hitters.
Prado softly to right. Nimmo coming on, though. He'll make the catch. And so far, it's 6 up, 6 down for Zach Wheeler as we go to the 3rd.
Marlins Park. That includes the Better Half Back to School Drive. This is Ashley Holiday, wife of Marlins catcher Brian Holiday. Ashley, what can you tell us about this event?
So it'll be a great event considering school starts for us at least in like 10 days. We have a son that will be starting kindergarten for the first time this year back in Texas. So we are asking fans if they could bring school supplies, obviously wrapped, not used school supplies, to the games on Saturday and on Sunday. They can drop the supplies off at the first base entrance or the home plate entrance. On Sunday, it's Billy the Marlins' birthday party going on in the fifth base tent, and so you can actually drop the supplies off there. All fans that drop off supplies will receive 2 tickets to any future Marlins game.
And you just mentioned you have a son that's starting kindergarten soon, so you know how many school supplies, even for a young child, it takes to be successful. What would you say to fans to encourage them to bring something to Marlins Park this weekend?
We just got our list for kindergarten, and I'm not joking.
All right, we had a little technical problem there. Thank you, Ashley. A little ground ball for the second out to Castro over to first base and Dietrich, but good words there with school going back. My daughter started her senior year today.
Congratulations.
Can you believe that?
It's a big year.
Very strange, though, they would start on a Friday. I've never heard that one before.
Well, got to break them in easy.
Get the one day, then you get 2 more days
That's
off.
Right, a couple days off, kind of ease into it, right?
So congrats to Spencer. And but no, schools are starting. They do at different times, obviously. Some school districts are this week, next week, and so on. Line drive to center, and that's going to drop for a base hit. Mets have their 3rd hit. They've had 1 each inning. Jeff McNeil getting that one with 2 outs.
Yeah, we'll take another look. Neither pitcher really has had to change the game plan too much. Good swing by McNeil. You talked about his numbers coming in. One of the hotter Mets hitters. Line drive to center field. Here with 2 outs. 3 singles, but no movement from first.
So Wilmer Flores pop out in the 1st inning. To Dietrich is up with 2 outs here. He's driven in 38 on the year. McNeil does not have a stolen base in his short stint here with the Mets so far.
Flores 0 for his last 10. He's been struggling just a bit.
He had 3 hits on his birthday night this past Monday. And a line drive. There's another hit. We go toward the gap. Anderson will cut it off. And McNeil goes over to 3rd. 1st and 3rd now with 2 outs.
Now back-to-back hits. This 2-seam fastball stays up, ends up splitting the plate a little bit. Flores drives it into right. Anderson does a nice job getting over. This ball hit well. Vital that he cuts this off and get it back in a hurry. You see McNeil making his way around to 3rd. Anything goes wrong right there, I'm sure he would have been sent. An escape hatch here. At the top of the 3rd inning.
And Michael Conforto.
Go through Conforto, who's been swinging a hot bat since the All-Star break. 308 batting average, 3 home runs, 9 RBIs, 901 OPS. Had a dismal first half. 216. A variety of spots in this Mets lineup. Seems to have settled in the 4 spot of late. So many of the Mets.
Here's our StatCast AI powered by AWS here, Holly.
Obviously, that's most left-handed hitters, and he's a pull guy. To the right side, you see that 35%. Not much action on the left side, about 23% for the entire left side of the infield. Conforto struggled at home, as I was mentioning. So many of the Mets at Citi Field. 184, now on the road, 283. Much better numbers. This entire Mets team seems to be a road team. 13 games under 500 at home. Only 5 games under on the road.
3-0 he takes right down the middle, 3-1. He was an all-star last year. Hit 279 with 27 home runs. Season was cut short with a shoulder issue in late August. Now it's 3-2. Two on, two out for the Mets here with 2 outs in the third. That's grounded foul. Picked up by Ruben Amaro Jr. Mets first base coach.
Nice job by Urania using his slider to get back into this count. For the 3-0 fastball, a couple of sliders. He's got Conforto thinking a few different things in the box.
3-2 pitch, grounded and through the hole, even though they had 3 on that right side of the infield. It was to the right of Castro, so it's a base hit RBI. McNeil scores, and the Mets have a 1-0 lead.
Well, after those 2 sliders went in with a 96-mile-an-hour fastball, and this one tails back towards the middle of the plate just a bit. See JT's glove raise up. This up in the zone. Porto right on it. It's 10th RBI in 19 games since the All-Star break.
So 3 straight singles after 2 out here for the Mets. And Brandon Nimmo jumps in there. Mets featuring 4 left-handed hitters in the ballgame, including the pitcher Zach Wheeler. Pickoff play at second, close, safe. Flores just got back in with his pal Miguel Rojas. They used to play in a winter league team in Venezuela together.
Well, hard to tell from that angle. Let's take another look. He's certainly, oh, I don't know.
You know, the problem is
Miggy Rowe needs to get his feet out of the way.
Get an invisible leg.
That's right. Well, on both sides, you know, both camera angles, we've got a foot in the way.
He covered both ends. How about this look?
I think he just got back in. Yeah, there you go.
Good fastball.
Nimmo, an interesting story. Remember back, Marlins saw him a little earlier this season. He was playing like an all-star up until about June 24th when he was hit by a pitch. He had a 974 OPS at that time. 12 home runs, 6 triples, 9 doubles. I'll tell you what, I wouldn't have been surprised if he would have made his way to the All-Star game, but since getting hit, he has really struggled.
Muto jumps on it. It popped out of his glove. Nobody can advance.
See that just kind of pop out of the glove, but again, Muto would have had a clear shot at third. Really wise that Flores didn't run. Getting back to Nimmo, those struggles, 203 since June 24th. Again, after getting hit on the hand, the strikeout rate up, the production way down, although of late he's been playing much better last 2 days. They say that kind of started to change his swing around trying to play through that injury.
Fouls it off, count even 2-2.
Comes into tonight 5 for his last 8 with 4 doubles. So maybe starting to find that swing again. He was kind of the lone bright spot through, as I said, late June. The offense.
Yeah. They haven't had many, you're right, Todd. They're hitting 229 as a team, last in the National League. The homers are down, although still 114, but that's 12th.
Cespedes out, came back, hit a home run, went back on the disabled list. You know, Frazier on and off. I mean, they've had a few guys come and go. Trying to figure out what Rosario can do at short.
Cabrera traded.
Cabrera gone. He was, again, one of the more consistent producers. But Nimmo is such an interesting start. I mean, he was best player, literally the best player on the Mets.
High pop-up, short center field. 3 Marlins converge, and it's Sierra who puts it away. So 3 hits in a row, and the Mets do get a run on the Conforto base hit. They lead 1-0. Fox Sports Florida and Southwest Airlines are giving you an opportunity to enter for a chance to win an all-inclusive stay in Nassau in the Bahamas on Labor Day weekend for the Southwest Airlines Summer Days Getaway. Just tweet hashtag Southwest Summer Days Sweeps and hashtag sponsored to @FoxSportsFL for your chance to win. Get in now.
I would. Well done.
Have you made that trip over? It's very easy now that you're living down here.
Right. Well, we've started to expand our horizons.
To take a look at
There's
so
more
many
things to do down here.
So many great islands over there.
Right.
Rafael Ortega, pop-up. Frazier, an easy catch. First at bat here. Didn't get you. Can't tell you too much about Ortega. We'll have an opportunity. Called up, who was doing very well for the Baby Cakes. Has been in the big leagues. 168 at bats coming in with Colorado and the Angels.
He comes in as one of the hotter hitters, at least in terms of earning his way here at AAA. He's definitely done that, as you mentioned. We'll get into a little bit more as we move along. Rojas sitting out of the 8th spot tonight. Hasn't done that too much this season, only the 6th time 2018. The reason I bring that up, he's doing a nice job of it. 353 with a 421 on base percentage, also 4 RBIs out of the 8th spot. Nice. Got me thinking about last season. Rojas really impressed last year out of the 8th spot in the lineup. In fact, led the National League, and I tell people all the time, there's really no tougher spot in baseball than to hit out of the 8th spot in the National League, because there's so many mixed messages that you get as the game goes along. Rojas did a fantastic job, 292 last year when hitting 8th.
Ground ball sharply hit. Rosario bobbles, and Rojas is going to be the first base runner. Probably an error, I would think. We'll see how they scored. He hit it hard, but Rosario looked to be in good position to field that ball.
Yeah, they're going to give him an error. As you mentioned, this hard hit in the hole. Sorry, does his job at getting to the spot. He's not coming up with a handle. So one hopper catches him up on the heel. Up into the body, and once he loses it, really no shot.
Come on, Mickey, straight through. Stay here, stay here, stay here.
Now Rainey in a bunting situation. Obviously Perry Hill mic'd, and we'll get a chance to listen in when he's on the first base coaching box tonight.
A little great interpretation. I'll help people at home understand what Perry was saying right there. So now Rojas is running as hard as he can down the line. He doesn't know exactly what happened on the infield. He probably shouldn't, because he's trying to beat it out to first. There was a chance that might get through.
Ooh,
my goodness. Fastball had some run. So what Bone was telling Rojas was that the ball was booted, and then he needed for him to run straight down the line through the bag, and don't turn to the left, make sure you turn to the right. That's the whole point of straight, running through, no turn. If you make it a turn, it will be interpreted as an attempt at second base, and in fact they could throw the ball over to first base and attempt to get you out if you did that.
Something the Marlins need to do a better job at, Todd, this year and going forward, is the pitchers getting their bunts down.
Absolutely.
Arena has just one sacrifice bunt this year. Caleb Smith actually leads with 4, and no other pitcher has more than 2. Straley and Richards. We've seen a lot of chances to move a guy over, and you couldn't do it. This one is a good one for Arena. Nicely done.
They were listening to you, Craig.
Well, they work on it. We see them working on it all the time.
But you need some results. I hear you. You want to put a guy in scoring position. You want a productive out right here. We talk about these things all the time, especially if you don't have the ability to hit home runs. You need to be able to move guys along. As many guys into scoring position as you possibly can. Nice job here. Getting the ball down. Getting Rojas over to second.
Hey, I mean, Flores fielded. That was well done. So now runner in scoring position, but 2 outs. And here's Magnarice Sierra. He does have 2 RBIs in his young Marlins career. There's a 96-mile-an-hour fastball for the second strike. 0-2.
Now Wheeler is working fast. Boy, oh boy, is he filling it up. This certainly speaks to what he has improved upon this season. Pitches per inning down to 16. He's dropped it 2 from last season. He was up in the 18s, now down in the 16s.
Goes off speed. And he did not go, said the third base ump, Gabe Morales. Ground ball, just foul. Kind of sawed him off there.
Well, you know, when you've got 97 miles an hour, I was sitting here thinking this even with Sierra, a lot of times misdirected hitting happens when guys throw really hard and it works against the defense. You say, well, wait a minute, he's supposed to pull a fastball to the right side if I go inside, but at 97 sometimes it's too much to handle and the ball goes to the complete other side of the field. That's how you see sometimes those slap lefties. Juan Pierre was the master of this. He would take an inside pitch and slap it down the third baseline and you'd be like, how did he do that?
Wheeler features the 4-seam, 2-seam fastball, curve slider, and a changeup. You're seeing some off speed here, 2-2. See what he goes with a runner on second. And foul straight back. Might have been the 2-seamer.
Actually, in fact, been his changeup. I know he hasn't thrown any over his last 2 starts, and I did kind of lead people to believe that he was throwing more splitties, but it did look like his changeup at 90 miles an hour. That's about how hard he throws it.
That's kind of like Rainier with the 96, although he doesn't go as high as Wheeler, and then the 90-mile-an-hour changeup. That is inside, so the count goes full. Brian Anderson is on deck. Line drive, left field, Conforto there, diving, makes the catch, backhanded catch. He was over toward the line and is able to make the play. Nice play by Conforto to keep it a 1-0 Mets lead through 3. Inside look, most homers by a third baseman. And Mr. Arenado, 177. Todd Frazier in that company since 2012.
No doubt about it. He's been an impressive slugger over at the hot corner for quite some time, although the Mets would love to see him find it a little bit more this season and probably next.
This was a position the Mets never had an answer for. Really, over the years, they had a guy in and out until David Wright.
Yep.
who's unfortunately still battling. He's still trying. Todd,
Holding out
right?
hope. Yeah, he has not retired. I mean, there's no hint of that. He's not been
one of the all-time greats in Met history and beloved players up there.
He has not been around. I mean, as far as on the field, you know, batting practice, anything like that. We certainly haven't seen him. But you're right, he hasn't retired yet.
2-1 pitch is a swing chopper. Romulo's going to pick it up. He double pumps and still gets him.
Well, a lot of things going on right there. Todd Frazier a little bit surprised that the ball stayed fair. I think JT thought he had more time than he did. You're right, ends up double clutching it, but still a strong throw. And Dietrich down to both knees. Let's throw a little bit low. Nice job by Double D.
Caught in self-defense over there. Had a little English on it too, Todd. That chopper. So it goes 2-3. And here's the red hot Austin Jackson, 15 for 33 now as a New York Met. And the Mets are only paying him the prorated minimum since he signed in late July.
Yeah, it's all about an opportunity, and he's making the most of it.
There's Mickey Callaway, first-year manager for the New York Mets.
Yeah, the Mets 4-6 in their last 10 ball games, 3-5 in the month of August. They've been kind of flip-flopping wins and losses over their last week. They lead the season series against the Marlins 5-4. Mets came out. Remember, they started the season 11-1. Part of that against the Marlins. They won the first 4 against the Marlins this season, then proceeded to lose the next 4. And then they won the last game that they played. So 5-4, right? 5-4 on the season series.
Best start in Mets history, 11-1 out of the box.
I mean, isn't that amazing when you look at the 47-60? I mean, it's just it's mind-boggling, really, when you think about it. Great changeup there by Urania down at the bottom of the zone. 91 miles an hour, third strikeout.
The Mets have played 100 games exactly as you look at that pitch from Urania. Mets are 36-64 in the last 100 games since that 11-1 start. It's just been awful there. June was 5-21, worst one they've ever had. Plawecki down the left field line, toward the line, and in foul ground, it is grabbed by Ortega. His first put out as a Marlin. We'll go to the 4th. Mic'd up here tonight.
Hi, Ed. How are you?
Buddy, good.
Nice to see you. Good to see you. Big storm outside. Top founder.
You see anything, Bone?
No. Just keep using your hands like you talked about. Use your hands. Come on, Mickey. Come on, Mickey. Straight through. Stay here. Stay here. Stay here. Back, back, back. Come on, keep swinging. Attaboy.
And we thank Perry Hill wearing that microphone. First 3 innings for us tonight. That's great stuff.
Some great stuff, no doubt about it. I'm sure it would have been a little bit more fun if the Marlins had a few base runners over at first base. You may have heard a few more backs and maybe a little bit more instruction around the bases, but kind of got into the life of Bone and what he does over at first base. One of the best in the business, as everybody knows. Not only an infield coach, base running coach at times, and he's been on his game.
Love talking baseball with Perry Hill. I'm sure you like being around him as a coach, and now you get to talk to him as a broadcaster.
Well, over at first base, he's your favorite. You know why? He's that anchor over at first base. You're like trying to get to him, because if you get to hang out with Perry, that means you either walked or you got to hit most of the time.
Yeah.
I always like to get down there and chat with your first base coach. It feels like a safe place.
Had a marvelous major league coaching career. This is second stint with the Marlins. And forever grateful for that 2003 World Championship team. People sometimes forget this part. The coaches aren't paid like the players. And when they get a chunk of that World Series share, it truly is life-changing. He was able to buy his house back in Texas thanks to that big World Series check that he earned with your ball club. Brian Anderson takes ball 4, so at least the Marlins are getting a couple base runners here. You got a Rojas up to second on the error in the third, and then Anderson a leadoff runner, the first for the Marlins in this ball game. There's they call him Bone, and there's that Bone symbol, and that is not there just for fun. That's usually a spot where he likes to stand defensively, and when the Marlins are on the road, he will put a tape and draw a Bone, and you do not stand there. It's like a keep out zone. Only Bone can stand on that spot. How many dugouts have you gone down and seen?
Oh no, I know. Listen, I know all about it.
I
was trying to figure out how I could get you in trouble. Is what I was like. Maybe somehow I could get you down there. Well,
I've learned,
like in his spot.
He's very good at drawing the dog bone, by the way.
Right.
Too. It looks, it's right off the milk bone box, I think. Here's JT. What does JT need to do to get going here? It's 0 for 22 now.
Get a good pitch to hit. It's as simple as that. You think back to the last at bat, he was hitting the count 3-1, and he swung to the count. And again, he got a slider away. It was a ball, and then he got another ball down in the zone, but again, a little too aggressive. JT just needs to get back to doing what he does best, pounding the ball in the zone.
And obviously down on the count, which just seems to run when you're in a slump. It just seems you look up there and you got 2 strikes on you.
Now, there's a couple of things working against him. I know he's trying real hard. He knows this offense has been struggling here in the month of August. Only 23 runs scored, just over 2 runs a game. He feels the burden of that. He knows he's the #1 bat. He's certainly expected to produce. Obviously, Bohr gone now, maybe feeling a little bit more. He's just got to do what he does, control what he can control. It's easy for me to say, a lot harder to do when you're the guy going through it.
Fights that one off, stays 1-2.
JT goes out there every day, expects to win every ball game. And with that in mind, he certainly wants to produce and help do his share. And I think sometimes you get caught in that trap of trying to do too much. And I think that's what he's going through right now.
Another chopper foul. Anderson has a couple of steals this year. He has been caught 4 times.
He can run on Wheeler. 7 for 7 against him. No base runner who has taken off from first base in an attempt of stealing second has been thrown out. Wheeler on the mound this season.
Well, the Marlins They got to do something offensively. You never know.
Yeah.
Maybe not in this spot, but 1-2 pitch driven to center field. Austin Jackson.
It's easy to beat the heat when you become an energy-saving expert. Go to fpl.com/beattheheat.
So Anderson stays at first, one away, and here's Derek Dietrich, who struck out his first time up on a slider.
Well, part of why the running game hasn't been even a little bit more, as I mentioned, only 2 stolen bases for the Marlins as a team here in the second half since the All-Star break. You're only hitting 185 as a team in the month of August. That's 30th in Major League Baseball. You know, part of the problem is this. This was before tonight. Of course, we do have a walk tonight. Anderson just walked. That's the 7th walk as a team for the Marlins in August. Having struck out 50 times. Yeah, 50 strikeouts, only 7 walks. You pair that with the fact that you're not hitting very much, and it really has kind of complicated things. And one of the other things that they're not doing very well is seeing pitches. In fact, they've seen the fewest pitches in the month of August as well. And the reason I bring it up is because July was absolutely fantastic. It was off the charts. They hit 259, which was 12th in baseball, and they saw, in fact, the 12th most pitches.
Hey, there goes Anderson. A little hit and run. He fouls it off, does Dietrich.
You know, you had mentioned it before, like, well, should they put a few more guys in motion? You know, as a manager, it gets a little complicated because, you know, it's easy when you say, okay, well, I've got 12 base runners tonight. I'll put 3 of them in motion. But when you cut that number in half and you say, well, I'm only getting 6 runners a night. Am I really willing to risk putting guys in motion and making potentially outs on the bases?
14 runs in 7 games is probably the argument on the other side of that.
Yeah.
Got to do something. Stay out of the double play, maybe. Breaking ball gets away. Anderson, good jump. That's instinctive base running, and he gets to second base.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want to see. We talk about these things an awful lot. Listen, if a catcher doesn't come up with the baseball clean the first time, the percentages are off the charts in your favor as a base runner, regardless of how far the ball gets away. Now, this one does get to the grass, so it certainly helps Anderson and it buys him some time. But even if that ball hits the dirt and he doesn't pick it clean, you've got a very high percentage success rate in getting to second base if you're ready to run.
Wild pitch there. I saw this crazy stat today. The Mets, that's only their 13th wild pitch of the year.
Right.
And the next closest team has got 30. The Marlins 38, middle of the pack. By far the least in baseball. Dietrich swings and misses on a 3-2 off-speed pitch, so 2 out. He was fooled on that pitch.
Yeah, this is the 79-mile-an-hour curveball. It's the slowest of the pitches that Wheeler throws. Doesn't throw it a whole lot, but as I did mention, of late has been throwing it more.
But Todd, that's a heck of a pitch. You pull it out of your back pocket.
Well, and that's the point. I mean, when you look at Wheeler's arsenal and we say clicking on all cylinders, I mean, he's kind of that guy. He's got a 5-pitch arsenal. He uses all 5 of his pitches. Now, some more than others, and maybe some cycle up and down. But it's pretty impressive when you watch him at his best, like even the thought process there. He pulled out a pitch that he hadn't shown him. Big spot, threw it for a strike.
So Starlin Castro now trying to tie up this ball game with Anderson on second base and 2 out. And a flat to right first time up. There's a curve again.
Yeah, the 4 Ks for Wheeler tonight. 2 have come on the curveball, 1 on the slider, and 1 on that split.
Chopped to third, tough hop handled by Frazier nicely in the backhand, and he makes the play, and Wheeler and the Mets get out of it. Marlins still do not have a hit. They've left the runner on second the last 2 innings.
Guest in attendance tonight. It is 8-year-old Haley Dawson. Now, Haley was born with Poland syndrome, meaning that she was missing her right pectoral muscle, some fingers on her right hand, and also her pinky was underdeveloped. You take a look at that robotic hand. It was fitted for her when she was 4 years old. Guys, she's been on a mission to throw out the first pitch at every ballpark in Major League Baseball. She accomplished ballpark number 27 tonight here in Miami. That is amazing.
Absolutely incredible. Thank you, Jessica. Remarkable to see her out there. First out as Wheeler grounds out. Here's Ahmed Rosario. And he fouls one back. He's 1 for 2 in the game. Ground ball sharply hit, base hit by Rojas. A 1-out single. Mets have 6 hits in the game, all singles. They had 3 back-to-back in the third to score their only run.
And Rosario's got a couple of them. It's kind of interesting. Rosario in that leadoff spot. Most of the season he'd been batting 8th or 9th. I want to find out. Mets want to find out if he can be a leadoff hitter. He's got tremendous speed. We mentioned the 10 stolen bases. Batting first, though, coming into tonight's ballgame, was only hitting 147, but 5 of his 6 stolen bases out of the top spot.
The Mets, like the Marlins, very much in the evaluation part of the season going into next year, and I think one of the guys they're going to look closely at is the guy at the plate, number 68, in Jeff McNeil. As Drupal Cabrera had played second most of the year, but he was dealt at the deadline to the Phillies. And here's a guy he's 26 at a Long Beach State. He's got a baseball pedigree. He's done great at every minor league level. He's a .311 minor league hitter from 13 to 18. And now he gets a look.
Damn it!
And he wasn't too happy about that swing, as you may have heard. Second out. Marlins Live tomorrow. Jessica, Jeff Nelson, T-Hut is back with us on Dominican Heritage Night. Corey Oswalt and Dan Straley will be on the mound. Oswalt there pitching for the Mets. They thought Matz might be back. Steven Matz, the lefty, is a forearm strain. Hoped he would miss only 1 start, but he's not going to come off the DL as they had hoped to face the Marlins. So Corey gets in there. Started mostly in the minor leagues, but up here has been a reliever.
Flores 1 for 2 tonight, part of the string of hits that they had in the third that manufactured the first run of this ball game. Followed McNeil's base hit, as Conforto did as well. Went to right center, heading the count 2-0.
Pitch is inside. Orena has fanned 3, has not walked anybody, which is kind of like his season the way it's gone. His walks are down 36 in 124 plus innings. Last year he walked 64 in almost 170 innings. So there have been a lot of bright spots too, and even Don Mattingly said, you know, throw that record out for a number of the losses, not all of them, but a number of them.
Sure.
He's been a victim of little luck. Line shot, grabbed by Prado over third base. Nice play by Martin Prado. And that'll stop the Mets threat here in the 5th. So Orena doing a nice job managing this one. It's 1-0 New York.
How about our bonefish fresh catch of the game? A little half step and a dive by Martin Prado. Great instincts on a rocket off the bat of Flores. You know what happens in baseball so many times? You make a great play on defense, you lead off the next inning.
And here he is. That's that glove, too, that Prado's had forever, right? That you can almost see it looked like the ball was trying to find a way through it. Not many have over the years. Looked like Roberto Luongo with that glove save over at third base. We saw Luongo. He's at the Jeff Conine Poker Tournament last night, raising money for the Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital. Martin hobbling a little bit.
Well, both these offenses really struggling almost all season long. One thing that has not been consistent: home runs. See Martin Prado right off the instep.
Did they get a piece of that shin pad? Maybe a little piece, but
just hope he's wearing high tops.
1-2 pitch. It's going to get down for the first hit of the ball game for the Marlins. Hobbling is Prado as he barely gets to first base.
It looks like he's feeling it just a bit. This is the split finger fastball, and I'll tell you, it's not a bad pitch. Martin Prado, we've seen him work the bottom of the zone so well. He goes down as well as anybody into the hitting those secondary pitches at times below the knee. Finds a way to level off and line it out to the left for a base hit.
So Prado on, and here's a look at Rafael Ortega in case you missed it. Ground ball grabbed over at first base. Nice play by Flores to get one. Did he get it? They said it was on the exchange over there at second base up Ramon De Jesus. Ortega, who runs well, will be the base runner at first on the fielder's choice.
Ortega, we haven't seen much of him tonight. Boy, he's swinging early with this one, a rocket. I'll tell you, he was robbed of a base hit. Flores gets rid of it. You definitely see that it's on the exchange at second. Rosario's taking the ball out of his glove.
That time it was clear. We've seen at least the last 2 or 3 over there where that was not the case here at Marlins Park. And I think it's been the opponent. So 1 out, 1 on. Ortega does run well. Does he not want us to talk about? We have not had a chance to talk about Ortega. He's been up for 12 seconds and 2 at-bats.
He's ready to hit. He clearly believes that he is not going to walk his way to staying. I'll tell you, keep hitting it hard, he'll get some results. Certainly did that his last time.
He had 244 stolen bases in his long minor league career, over 3,700 at-bats. He has had some at-bats here in the major leagues, less than 200 with Colorado and the Angels. Made his debut 6 years ago, late September against the Dodgers with the Rockies. But get the pitcher on deck, see how the Marlins handle it here with 1 out.
Rojas hit the ball hard his first time up. Error on Rosario at short. Represented the Marlins first base runner in the 3rd inning. Well, that he hit to Rosario, 103 miles an hour off the bat. The harder hit balls tonight. Both these starters being very aggressive in the zone. We have not seen a whole lot of hard contact. I mentioned it a little bit earlier. Both these teams not hitting a whole lot of home runs since the All-Star break. 17 for the Mets, 14 for the Marlins. Both offenses need to be a little bit more creative. That's kind of what they have to do. The Marlins only 1 home run in their last 7 games here at Marlins Park. All the way back to Starlin Castro.
They've scored just 34 runs In their last 13 games, that's a 3-10 mark, 2.5 runs a game.
Yeah, that's kind of what you point the finger at most directly.
They have had a few games where things have gotten away from them late in the game. You win a couple of those 2-1 type games, it doesn't feel quite as bad.
It was kind of their calling card. Things started to really go well late June and July, where the offense was doing a much better job, at least consistency-wise, scoring about a little over 4 runs a ball game. But you paired it with the bullpen making a nice run.
Ground ball the other way. McNeil makes the out as Ortega goes to second. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Miami Marlins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. So runner on second, 2 out. Here's Jose Urena. He likes to swing, wouldn't you say?
He would.
I know he's only hitting, what is it, 059, but he's a dangerous 059. We'll see. Tough at bat against Wheeler.
What we know about Urena is that he's a good athlete. In fact, I've kind of expected him to start handling the bat a little bit more than the numbers lead you to believe. I know 061 kind of stands out, but I mean, he's a pretty good athlete. He swings the bat pretty well during batting practice.
Pops that one up in the infield. And again, the Marlins are going to leave a runner in scoring position. Mets lead 1-0 after 5. To high. The Cleveland Clinic, stiff joints, aches and pains. Trust Cleveland Clinic, Florida, the #1 orthopedic care in Florida. And by Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. Welcome back here to Marlins Park. Mets leading 1-0 as we zip along to the top of the 6th. Here's a look at our Chevy Prospects Spotlight, Mr. Hollinsworth. And here it is, Sandy Alcantara. How about this last night against Iowa? He went 6 innings. He struck out 6. He allowed only 1 hit. A very nice performance, only 1 walk as well. In fact, he walked the leadoff hitter, Chris Coughlin, the former Marlin.
How about that?
And had some problems in the first, and after that settled down.
Yeah, and that's what you wanted to see. 62% strikes, outstanding. It's improving. That's what they're looking for. Listen, we know that he throws hard and that he could probably come up right here right now and give you 5+ innings and get through it and give you a pretty good stat line. In fact, what we saw of him the one time that he was up here, I mean, he's hard to hit. There's no doubt about it. But there's still some things that he's learning along the way. And when he comes up with those good secondary pitches and that command starts to come back a little bit more, I think we're going to see him again, hopefully this season.
Good stuff to see. Especially had to be a little disappointing for Sandy after being here and then finally coming off the injury. Maybe he thought he was going to stay here, and what you're talking about is the key, and didn't have the command that they wanted to see. So he goes down there and has a good 1-0 game for the Baby Cakes over Iowa last night. Good job. Here's Michael Conforto. He's got the only RBI of the game. 3rd inning single. Ground ball. That is just foul. Wow.
I'll tell you what, we see this more and more with the shifting in the game of baseball. You know, those accidental hits, like the surprise, like, wait a minute, there's nobody there. Fucking Conforto. I mean, he cues this off the end of the bat, and it just stays foul. But there's nobody there. You know, Martine's playing him way over as the Marlins have him shifted, as the percentages would tell you to play, but that's just the oddity of what you see. He hit it into the 11% technically.
Off-speed pitch for a strike. And with 2 strikes now, the Marlins will move Rojas to the shortstop side of second base. Handles the pop-ups a little better, being the quicker of the infielders.
I wonder if Conforto knows that the 11% is still wide open.
Wow. It's 11 and 12 now.
Well, but,
right?
but you've got Rojas right on the line, so he can at least cover part of that. You know?
I'm giving him 20% now. I know the average fan out there just hit the ball over there. It's not that easy to do.
95 mile an hour, 97 mile an hour fastball starts steering it. Good luck. See ball and react.
Well, are you ever worried then that the averages are down, what, 246, 248 major league average? Last year was 255. 20 years ago it was 20 points higher. Is it ever going to get back there? Or do you think this defensive posturing is going to take over?
I just don't have I don't want to overreact as that changeup misses to the outside part of the plate. I mean, again, listen, the game has almost always corrected itself. It was only a handful of years ago that we thought that there was too much velocity in the game for the hitters to handle, and all of a sudden balls started flying out everywhere, and we started ranting and raving about exit velocity all the time.
Right.
My point is this: give it some time. Everybody's going to continue to defensive shift and see if these guys, these players that recognize what's going on, try to start taking a little bit more advantage of that. We have seen great examples of some of these fine young players who have been willing to go the other way, take the bunt, drop one down, shoot the ball the other way through the hole that is wide open in different key spots. But you need to see more of it. You're right. I mean, it certainly is a valid point. I just don't want to see baseball overreact. And I hate it when we say, okay, we've got to get involved and we've got to change the rules.
Yeah.
That always kind of like, this never sits well with me.
Using statistics, obviously, analytics to determine as Nieves going to come out 2-0 count here on Brandon Nimmo.
You know, like the idea is like you're not good enough to figure it out. See Juan Nieves making his way out to the mound, as you said.
It's easy to beat the heat when you become an energy-saving expert. Go to FPL.com/beattheheat.
Rainier falling behind Nimmo 2-0 here. First walk of the game issued to Conforto moments ago. Only 76 pitches for Urania here. And Drew Rosinski is back for the Marlins, and he's up throwing.
Nice job by Urania doubling up, low and away. First the fastball and then the changeup.
Nimmo fouls it off. Surprised to see Brzezinski up there. They're just getting ready just in case this inning gets a little sour for the Marlins.
Well, and it's a great point, Craig. I mean, listen, Urania has these stretches at times, and we've already seen one in this ball game. Now, he's been able to get through it, but that's kind of the sense. Sometimes it happens rather fast. I've talked about it really all season long. You'll watch Urania cruising along for 4, 3-4 innings. Next thing you know, it'll be base hit, base hit, base hit, base hit, walk, base hit, base hit. I mean, it happens kind of fast where that ball ends up out over the plate. You just don't want to see Urania, you know, in a one-run ball game, lose what he's accomplished.
Runner goes. Castro is going to have to go to first. So the Mets stay out of the double play, at least getting a runner into scoring position. Well, you know, June 15th, 8 innings, no runs, Baltimore. June 20th, 5 2/3, 5 runs. Then he pitched against Tampa on July 4th, no runs. 2 runs against Milwaukee. Next 2 starts, 5 runs each. Then July 29th, you mentioned that great start here, 6 scoreless, and then last time out, the 6 runs. So it has been a case of good or bad Urania. Tonight, very good. And you want to keep it that way.
Well, and it's very rarely, I mean, in fact, I'm sure I haven't really said it this season. I mean, even in the last start, you say, well, what are you talking about? His last start, he gave up 6 earned runs. But you see the real Urania, it really just becomes about his fastball command and how aggressive is he willing to be. I've never once said he doesn't have it tonight. Now, we've seen at times where the slider's not nearly as good as it's been in other starts, but my point is that generally speaking, he has survived his starts. It's usually his 5 innings or so, but point being that if he does have the secondary stuff and he doesn't have that big blow-up inning, he lasts a little bit longer. If he doesn't and he deals with one of those innings, then it's a little bit shorter.
And that 8-inning performance, his best of the year against Baltimore, June 15th. And he went 7 his second start. Now 1 and 2, that was against Boston on April the 3rd, actually threw 109 pitches. Second most pitches he's thrown this season. But he's been very efficient tonight. They have him at 84 here.
Well, he's been aggressive with the fastball early. One thing with Urania is that what you see is what you get. A lot of times we talk about sequencing at the major league level. Urania doesn't really change that up too much.
Line shot, base hit. Conforto to third, going to turn and stop. Throw comes in from Ortega and cut off by Prado, so it's first and third now with 1 out. And Austin Jackson has been red hot, is coming up.
Well, this fastball two-seamer runs back towards the middle of the plate. It's ripped into left by Frazier. The ball hits so hard, really no shot at sending him. Of course, you're playing to the man in the box as well. Austin Jackson, one of the hottest Mets. Sometimes you'll see third base coaches hold runners with the idea that the man in the box who is really hot is going to give you a pretty good at bat, and that's what you're banking on. So no point in risking sending a guy from third base. That's a little bit of what you saw right there.
Marlins are banking on trying to get a double play here. The infield has moved up a bit. So they have a shot at it with Rojas and Castro halfway in a first and third 1-out spot. That pitch is called a ball. 2-0, though it looked like it caught the strike zone. They pulled the string there, and it's 2-1.
Yeah, we've seen a little bit more of that tonight from Urania. Great spot to talk about it. 2-0 pitch to a hot hitter. The ability to go to a secondary pitch to not only get the strike, but to fool the hitter as well.
Now he runs it inside, and it's 3-1. And you wonder if this will be his last hitter if he loses Jackson here. Or see if he can wiggle out of it. 3-1 pitch, ground ball off the glove and under the glove of Castro. It hit Urania's glove and slowed up. And it's a base hit for Jackson, another hit for him, and it's 2-0 New York.
Yeah, this is worst case scenario, and what could have been, might have been, didn't end up happening. Got all the way through the infield, and because Urania did get, I believe, a little bit of this ball, it slowed it down enough to where Sierra had to come a long way towards the infield. Let's take another look. I think, yeah, sure did hit off his glove, and then you see Castro dive. Well, you see Frazier making his way to third base. No real way of stopping him because that ball ends up in no man's land. what could have been.
And that is going to be it for Rainier. I wonder, and we'll take a look when we come back, if that ball didn't hit his glove, would they have had a shot at 2 or not? Our Florida Lottery called it a bullpen. Back in a moment. On a classic, they're loaded with prizes from $10,000 to $2 million, so unleash the excitement anytime. The Florida Lottery, it's your ticket, must be 18 or older to play. Play responsibly. All right, back here, Drew Rosinski is in for the Marlins after a seeing eye base hit by Jackson that went off the glove of Urania and under the glove of Castro.
Yeah, it was an interesting play, and I kept mentioning what could have been. Urania comes up with this, maybe turns 2, maybe gets Conforto in a rundown. Conforto kind of hesitated just a bit at third base. You'd think he naturally would have been off with contact, but once again, that ball gets all the way through, so everybody able to move up. And of course, the Mets able to score another run.
Todd, do you think if he didn't touch it, Castro would have fielded it? It almost looked like it deflected back towards center.
Yeah, he kind of oddly slowed it down to the point where it made it more of a difficult reach for Castro. I felt like Castro was diving to keep the ball on the infield, almost like like he was going to tackle it, right, as opposed to catch it with his glove.
Well, Rosinski starts off first pitch and hits Plawecki to load the bases now for Zach Wheeler.
Now this up and in. Rosinski, good stuff. Arm side run. Good slider. And coming into this outing, has done a fantastic job with inherited runners. He's stranded all 9 that he has inherited coming into tonight's appearance.
He's been on the DL since July 9th and was pitching outstanding baseball. So now here's Wheeler up, and he offers at that for strike 1. Still only a 2-0 game. You get the pitch here, either 1 or 2. Try to wiggle out of this inning.
Rosinski, a good split finger as well. You see that at some point.
Wheeler is a good hitting pitcher, hitting 200 on the year. He's hit 8 hits on the year and 4 RBIs. Swing and a miss. Big strikeout for Rosinski.
Real nice job. Up and away. Wheeler really no chance at doing anything with that pitch. Came up to the plate hoping to put the ball in play. Comes up empty.
So now he has to face Ahmad Rosario, who's 2 for 3 in the game for New York. 2 singles in the first and the 5th. Frazier on third, Jackson on second, Plawecki is on first for the Mets. Big swing and a miss, 1-1. Rosinski last faced the Mets July 1st, struck out 2 in 1 scoreless inning. Count of 2-1. That's fouled back, evens up 2-2.
Well, he went to that cutter splitter to strike out a Wheeler. Anticipate he would go right back there once again with Rosario.
Not an easy spot when you haven't pitched in the big leagues in a month. You come right in here in a high leverage spot.
Logs on the fire, right?
Yeah.
My goodness.
Frazier trying to bother him at third. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Line shot off the glove of Castro, and the Mets are going to score 2 more. Throw over to third, and the play out at third as Plawecki tried to get over to third, but the 2 runs did come in. And the Mets will take a 4-0 lead. Nice throw, though, by Sierra to at least end the inning. Just off the glove of Castro.
To enter for a chance to win all-inclusive stay in Nassau in the Bahamas on Labor Day weekend for the Southwest Airlines Summer Days Getaway. Just tweet hashtag Southwest Summer Day Sweeps and hashtag sponsored to @Fox Sports FL for your chance to win.
I am sending in my entry here after that read. Here's Magdalene Sierra. He's 0 for 2 in the game. Right back to the box. And an easy out for the first out here in the 6th inning. Zach Wheeler wears number 45. Some great Mets relievers have worn that number. Tug McGraw, Jeff Reardon, lives in Palm Beach Gardens, a couple of years for the Mets. John Franco. But none of those guys are the reasons he wears that. His brother, Adam, was a promising Yankee farmhand, a 13th round pick, and had a 4-year career in the minors, had shoulder problems. And that ended his career after 4 years. But he, being an older brother, really taught him the ropes of being a pro and how to go about your business and that kind of thing. And it is homage to his brother Adam that he wears that number 45.
That's a great story. You certainly never want to forget where you came from and who helped you get there.
Zach grew up in Smyrna, Georgia. He was the Gatorade High School Player of the Year. Big swing and a miss, but he loved basketball, and he said it killed him. He gave it up his senior year. He just said he had to,
I think he made the right
work
choice
on his baseball. He said it's my favorite sport, and but his fastball wound up increasing by 5 miles an hour. He put 15 pounds of muscle on, being able to train more for baseball without having to worry about running up and down the court. And yeah, it was a good decision. First round pick by the Giants in 2009, number 6 overall. And how about the streak he's got now? 22 plus.
Right. Well,
scoreless innings.
Certainly see why. I mean, he has been on quite a roll. We talked about a lot of the numbers at the beginning of the ball game, and he is not disappointed. I think there's been certainly a number of examples of his unpredictability and his ability to throw just about any pitch in his arsenal in any sequence to any hitter while maintaining an aggressive strike zone approach. I mean, he's just been all over it. Look at the numbers. 51 strikes tonight. You say what's coming next, and it's like your guess is as good as mine.
Marlins have just a soft single by Martin Prado to show for against Wheeler, though they did get runners on second in the 3rd and the 4th and in the 5th. Anderson lost the bat.
A lot of things happening right there. Split finger fastball. Did just get a piece. Oh, wow. Left thigh. Lecky. Ryan Anderson over to the on-deck circle, getting a little bit more sticky stick on his grip for his bat. At the same time, giving Plawecki an opportunity to deal with the pain.
He's grimacing, but he looks like he's smirking through the grimace somehow.
Most catchers have an odd appreciation for the warrior mentality that they kind of maintain, you know?
2-2 from Wheeler. And nice job. Anderson lays off that one. He walked in the 4th. He's 0 for 1 in the game.
Got as far as second base. That's it. Marlins only 2 runners in scoring position tonight.
And a swing and a miss, 79 mile an hour. Off speed pitch, strikes him out on the 3-2 pitch.
And you talk about the confidence of throwing just about any pitch in any spot in a sequence, and you see it there. I mean, again, Plawecki numerous times was running through the arsenal. Well, we saw changeup go down. We saw the split finger get called for. Of course, the slider fouled off the splitty, and at the very end decides, yeah, well, why not? I'll just throw the 79 mile an hour breaking ball.
And he gets great drop on that tough pitch.
Well, I think Anderson's reaction to that was even probably more telling than anything I just told you. He walked out of the box with a big fat oh wow.
That's 20 miles an hour different than
sure
that 4-seam fastball you're seeing.
Well, there's nothing that you can do to really even sit on that pitch. He doesn't throw it enough to predictably guess when it's coming. So the point is, all you can do is look to maybe foul it off or defend it. Call him emergency swings.
Realmuto, base hit. He breaks the streak. Good for him. Realmuto is going to go to second. It's a 2-out hit. That has to feel real good. It was 0 for 23 for JT. His average dipping under 290.
Now we talk
the 300s forever.
That's right. Well, we talk about the predictability or unpredictability of Wheeler. He threw back-to-back curveballs in this situation. First for a strike and then went to it again and left this one well up. Not terrible, just above the knees. JT right on it as he rips it down the line. Good for JT, good to see. Nice swing, kept his hands back. Got that breaking ball to get to the strike zone. 100th hit of the season for JT Realmuto.
And here's Derek Dietrich. He has struck out twice on a slider, then that great curve last time up. Marlins need a big hit here to get on the board with 2 outs in the 6th. They were managing the game at 1-0, and then the Mets had a couple of big hits that just got under around a glove in that top of the 6th to bring in 3 runs. I'm not sure they don't have a double play if, and I'm not blaming Urania for touching it. He's going after the ball trying to make a play, but if he doesn't get it, Castro might get that on the back end, at least get 1 out. And then the other one was a tough liner. He just couldn't gobble in. One and 2 now to Dietrich. There's Harlan Garcia in the Marlin pen. And a fastball hit in the air to shallow left center field, and Conforto comes in to make the catch. Marlins still off the board through 6.
We are hosting Kendall Night at Marlins Park on Saturday, and tickets start at just $12 for all residents. For more information, visit marlins.com/Kendall.
That is tomorrow night, Dominican Heritage Night as well here at the ballpark, as Harlan Garcia comes in for Miami here in the top of the 7th inning.
4.47 ERA on the season for Harlan Garcia. A couple appearances since returning to the big club. First in Philadelphia, didn't go so well. A couple of innings, did give up a couple of runs. Last time out against the St. Louis Cardinals, an inning and a third, couple hits, no earned runs. Nice job there, no walks. Had that fastball up to 94 a few times. This is a good spot in the lineup. Other than Flores, 3 of the next 4 hitters are left-handed.
Count of 1-1 on Jeff McNeil, 1 for 3 in the game, singled and scored in the 3rd. Marlins are 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position. The Mets are 4 for 6. McNeil up the middle there is Rojas. Stay tuned in the middle of the 7th inning for the Ram game break. Jessica and Jeff will have that coming up. odd. The Mets have their 4 runs, and the Marlins have the only extra base hit. Right? The Mets have 9 singles, and the Marlins have 2 hits, 1 a double. I'm trying to keep looking at my book to make sure that was right.
Well, it is kind of the complications that both these offenses have dealt with a little bit here in the second half. Not a whole lot of power. You can string some hits together, maybe at the right time, score a few runs.
We've seen the Marlins being able to do that quite often this year, but maybe not slugging all over the park, but singling you to death. What was that game? They had 20 singles,
right,
before they got an extra base hit. I think it was Washington.
One thing that the Marlins have done particularly well, and I felt like, well, maybe this is a bad matchup against Wheeler. As we told you, he's not throwing nearly as many fastballs, but the point being is that the Marlins are a fantastic fastball hitting team. It's just that it doesn't typically include slug like so many other teams.
Flores to shallow center, long way to go, tough play, and Rojas makes that play. He's very good at going back for those, and he had to go a long way to get that.
Yeah, under control the entire time. Watch Rojas, there's no panic. You even see him look for Sierra, realizes he's the one that's in control. He calls the shots right there. Sierra did not call him off. Nice job by Rojas. Out number 2 here in the 7th. Ideally, you'd like to see Sierra get there and take control. Not an easy play.
We saw some indecision early in the year with some of those plays, those tweeners. Rivera and Dietrich had a couple issues in left center, but you do like your shortstop to at least call me off, because I'm going to go for it unless you call me off.
The idea is this: is that the shortstop's the captain of the infield and the center fielder's the captain of the outfield. And when it comes down to it, you know, the outfielders trump the infielders. Right.
So much easier play for
absolutely,
him, right?
Especially in that situation where the infielders, or excuse me, the outfielders are coming in.
Conforto with the chopper to first. Dietrich will get to the bag. So nice 1-2-3 inning for Garcia. 4-0 Mets, middle of the 7th. Here's the Ram game break.
Welcome to our Ram game break. I'm Jessica Blaylock alongside Jeff Nelson. The Mets holding on to a 4-0 lead over the Marlins in the 7th inning. Nelly, it was Jose Urena who got the start tonight for Miami. What did you see from him?
I saw a lot of flat fastballs, a lot of flat changeups. When that elbow drops, everything starts to flatten out, and you have to trust your stuff. This guy has way too good of stuff to be pitching like this. A couple balls up in his zone, and in the 6th inning, it got away from him. He wound up getting taken out in the game, giving up those 4 runs in only 5 1/3. And then on the other side, you know, Zach Wheeler. How about Zach Wheeler? And there you see Conforto scoring, not too happy, but on the other side, Zach Wheeler, nasty stuff, nasty changeup. We've seen 96, 97 out of the fastball. And then the 2nd and 3rd time around the lineup, he started mixing in his breaking ball, only giving up 2 hits. The first hit was Prado leadoff single in the 5th.
Let's get to our big story around Major League Baseball. We'll go to New York. The Yankees hosting the Rangers. Adrian Beltre with home run number 7 on the season. Another milestone for him as far as his career accomplishments.
First ballot Hall of Famer, over 3,000 hits. I played with him in 05 in Seattle. Best third baseman I've ever seen. This guy's incredible, incredible athlete, and he's still doing it.
Unbelievable to see what Beltre has done throughout the course of his career. And like you mentioned, yes, he is still getting it done. We'll get back to our ball game in just a moment, but first, these messages from Ram.
The all-new Ram 1500, built to serve. Well-qualified lessees of competitive vehicles get a low-mileage lease on the 2018 Ram 1500 for $189 a month.
And join Jessica and Jeff for the post-game show coming up as we go to the bottom of the 7th. Wheeler still in there, and Starlin Castro leads it off, takes a strike.
Wheeler at 88 pitches. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning.
.90 pitches for Zach Wheeler. He has struck out 5 in the game. It's a strike there, and walked only 1.
That's been very similar to his line of late. No earned runs, a few hits.
Is there a pitch that is not working for Wheeler tonight? I mean, really has commanded, huh?
Well, listen, if there's a hole, you know I'm going to find it before his start. It's what I do. And, you know, that's the thing. You look at the numbers and you look at how he's using his pitches. It really isn't. There's not a whole lot in his arsenal. The only thing that you could hope for is that maybe, you know, that one of these off-speed pitches, he ends up hanging out over the middle of the plate, and, you know, you get, you know, a double or a triple or a home run with, you know, a runner on.
He really just missed that one, and then he comes low with the fastball, 56-footer, so it's 3-2 now on Castro.
And that's really where he's been. And it's so interesting, you can almost break his season in half through his first 9 starts, a 5.4 ERA. People, four-seam fastball, people were hitting 300 against it, and he'd given up 7 home runs. Well, in his last 11 starts, that ERA has been almost 2 earned runs less at 3.20. That four-seam fastball, which is what you're playing off of, hitter's only hitting 232. And oh, by the way, by throwing it a little bit less, he's even gotten a little bit of a bump in velocity, an extra mile per hour here in the second half. How many pitchers get that?
Payoff pitch. And Castro went after it. It was out of the strike zone. We've seen that a few times tonight. But again, it's this assortment of pitches he has, and it makes it very difficult to lay off.
Well, you'd think almost in this situation, you'd be sitting on, well, just about anything. Goes with the big breaking ball right there and gets Starlin. It was really just attempting to foul it off. Misses almost all the way in the other batter's box, but good enough.
Martin Prado got the Marlins' first hit of the game in the 5th. He's 1 for 2. It's a base hit. This curve has been a bit of a put-away pitch here in this game, Todd.
No, it certainly has. JT Realmuto was about the only one who's even come up with solid contact against the curveball. As I mentioned, breaking his season down almost right down the middle. Last 11 starts, hitters hitting 129 against the curveball.
There's the lefty Jerry Blevins in the bullpen, kind of revamped for the Mets. Breaking ball is in there, the inside strike. Mets traded Jury's Familiar to Oakland, and that's kind of changed the back end of their bullpen. Also a couple of injury situations, and Prado misses that one, and that's strikeout number 7. Here's our Geico this date in Major League history. Jose Bautista now with the Mets, walk-off single, 19th inning, as the Blue Jays beat Detroit 6-5 in that game. He's probably maybe loosening up. He's not in the dugout, but he might be coming off the bench. Pinch hit spot. He was 1 for 8. The Jays trailed 5-0 in the game. Reyes got a 2-out single in the 9th to tie the game up. He wound up going 6 hours and 37 minutes. Line drive. There's a base hit for Ortega. His first hit as a Marlin. Rafael Ortega called up today after the Bohr trade to play outfield, and Dietrich moving over to first base.
Now, 4th pitch he's seen tonight, he has stayed the most aggressive of all the Marlins. Well, he gets himself a changeup down. Boy, oh boy, did he really go down to get it, but he's been hot. Certainly understand why he's looking to swing the bat early in the count. He comes in. Again, doing very, very well at AAA. First hit tonight for Ortega. First hit as a Marlin. Congratulations.
Does have over 190 at-bats in the big leagues with Colorado and the Angels, so it's not his first hit, but it's his first one in a Miami uniform with 2 outs, and Rojas is up and Riddle waiting on deck as Wheeler's gone over 100 pitches now. Ortega has speed, but the Marlins do trail here by 4. Rojas drives it deep to left field. Back is Conforto.
scoreless inning streak for Wheeler is over. Oh, Miggy Rojas. Man, oh man, has he been swinging that bat well of late. His third and fourth RBI on the homestand. Hitting .310 over his last 44 ball games. Great extension and finish. We told you first time through, I know he reached on an error, but the ball off his bat at 103 miles an hour. And he's been on his game, by far the best at bats against Wheeler. We have ourselves a ball game, Craig.
4-2 game for Rojas. That's his 20th extra base hit of the year, and that is a new career high. With 11 doubles and 9 homers, he had 19 extra base hits a year ago. But it's a big one for the Marlins, 4-2. And you're right, they're back in it here with Riddle up. And Wheeler now on the brink of leaving this game. Action in the Met pen, double barrel activity. So JT Riddle didn't like the call there. Count of 0-1. A streak of 23 consecutive innings. Scoreless for Wheeler finally ends here with 2 outs in the 7th. And he's trying to leave here with the lead. Here's the 0-2.
Shot by Riddle, fouling that off. Riddle 0 for 8 as a pinch hitter this season. Well, I'll tell you what, it's the first time in 13 innings, Craig, Marlins have been able to get back-to-back hits.
Oh,
it's been a while. Yeah,
wow.
I mean, this offense has been struggling, and you certainly hope any signs of life lead to more signs of life.
Wow, that's hard to. How much?
13 innings.
13 innings
between back-to-back hits. Obviously, the Ortega single, the Rojas home run. That's the first time in 13 innings.
Well, it's point to the run production issues. 2 runs a game average last 7 coming in, and he gets Riddle to strike him out. So he strikes out the side, but he gave up a 2-run homer in between that has the Marlins in striking distance here as Miguel Rojas extend his career high with his 9th home run of the season. In-game lottery, in-game jackpot. Head-to-head, Mets in a very strange season series, lead at 5-4. The overall ERA similar, but the way to get there not similar. Mets won the first 4. Marlins have won 4-5.
Right.
And here we are with half of this to go, because we're going to see a lot of the Mets here.
Dominant pitching. I mean, listen, with everything that we've told you tonight, you know, leading into this series, this 3-game series over the weekend, you'd say, well, there's not going to be a whole lot of runs scored, and I think there's your evidence. And we've kind of hinted around it. Wheeler's been hot. Marlins staff, generally the starters have been fantastic.
So it's 33-33 now in cumulative runs with the 4-2 Met lead here as Javi Guerra comes in the 8th inning.
Yeah, 5.52 ERA. This is his 14th game. 14 strikeouts to go along with it. He's been pretty good over his last 4 outings. No earned runs. Did pick up a save 2 appearances ago against the St. Louis Cardinals. Came in and got the Marlins out of a bases loaded jam. Huge spot.
2 pitches and 2 big outs on that double play ball.
It's the Marlins' only win on the homestand currently.
Nimmo's 0 for 3 in the game. He's 5th on the lineup. Nimmo, Frazier, Jackson for the Mets here in the 8th. Marlins made some moves today with Kyle Bearclaw bothered by a lower back issue, not expected to be serious, goes to the DL. They're hoping it's going to be just for the 10 days. It could be a little longer. We'll see. Swing and a miss. Strikeout on Nimmo. Well, you mentioned the Justin Bour trade to Philadelphia. Marlins getting a left-handed starter named by the name of Mackenzie Mills. He's just got promoted to Double-A, so he'll be over at Jacksonville. And Michael Hill told us he really likes his arm. Rosinski we saw back here, and then Ortega selected from Triple-A. He'll go to the outfield as you look at the claw. And Dietrich will play first base. And then there's good news about Brinson and Cooper. They're hoping to get them back sooner than later. Try to get them at least 100 at-bats each as we go towards September and the rest of the season. And what Don Mattingly was talking about as you look at Todd Frazier today was getting a look to see who Cooper is and can he be the first baseman of the future here. And I talked to Lewis Brinson. I know you've been watching him in batting practice. He's feeling much better and getting closer himself. That bone bruise is healing on that hip. And he's going to have some rehab games and hopes to have a good solid month plus himself here.
You certainly love to see it. Definitely flashes of the talent, no doubt. Certainly in center field. How about the power as well?
Frazier lining. And Anderson will play it on a hop base hit. So Frazier with 2 for 4 ball game here. And that'll bring up Austin Jackson. Jackson started the year with San Francisco. He signed a 2-year, $6 million deal in January. Did not homer with the Giants in 149 at-bats. Went over to Texas, was there a very short period of time in July. They released him, and he signed on here with the Mets and getting a good look in his 9th major league season. He is 16 for 35 as a Met. And he's wearing a famous Met number, right? It's Doc Gooden. Number 16 for the Mets in their heyday in the 80s. Jackson drives it to right center field. Sierra, long way to go, not going to get there. Bounces over the wall. So that means Frazier will have to hold up at third, but yet another hit for Austin Jackson.
My goodness. This is an impressive swing. This is an off-speed pitch that Jackson stays inside of and goes the other way. It's a breaking ball. You see the extension, though. I'll tell you what. It's going to one hop on the warning track and bounce over. This is the first Mets extra base hit tonight. And he hit that ball a long way. Austin Jackson kind of profiles as the leadoff hitter type. Flexing those muscles tonight, 3rd hit.
So here's Plawecki. He's 0 for 2. Infield comes in now, as this is a 2-run ball game. Jose Reyes former Marlin, is on deck in a pinch hit spot with second and third and one out. Line drive, base hit. It's going to score at least one, maybe both. Jackson rounding third, and Sierra's not going to have a shot at him. And it's a two-run single. The Mets have gotten some big hits in this game with 2 outs, and they extend back to a 4-run lead.
Well, again, the breaking ball. Plawecki stays on it, drives it the other way. Pick up his first hit of the ball game. A couple of RBIs to go with it. It's the second time tonight that the Mets have been able to string 3 hits in a row together, produce a run. In this instance, producing 2.
Just 1 out here, and the Plawecki hit here earlier. They had the 2-run single by Rosario with a couple outs. Reyes comes up, pinch hitting for New York. So Zach Wheeler's night is done. 7 innings, solid. He was outstanding, allows just the home run to Rojas. And here's Jose Reyes.
Well, Reyes has not taken to pinch hitting this season. 4 for 25, 160 batting average, no RBIs. His career only 9 for 44.
Jose hit 287 in his lone season with the Marlins. He had a good year. He had 11 homers, knocked in 57, stole 40 bases in 2012. Coming off that year where he was the batting champion, he hit 337 the year before that. So it was a good year, but it was still 50 points lower. And if I'm not mistaken, he signed a $100 million, 102, 5 or 6 year deal.
Sounds about right.
At the time with the Marlins. The Marlins were able to trade him in that big deal with Toronto. Swing and a miss, so he strikes out here. Guerra gets a big second out.
And once again, going to the big breaking ball. This one's got a little bit more depth, as you see. It kind of crosses just above the kneecaps. Reyes fooled by the action.
So Rosario stands in. He's 3 for 4. Mets have 12 hits now in this game.
Rosario, leading into this ball game, had really been struggling out of the leadoff spot in the lineup, but not tonight. In fact, has proven to most everybody here at Marlins Park that he can handle velocity. He's hit 96 miles an hour or more all 3 of his hits, with the result being an exit velocity of 99, 103, and 99. So he is barreled up tonight. Urania fastballs.
In the air toward right, curving to the crowd and out of play. You know, it's a funny night for Jose Urania. He really pitched a pretty good game. And yet, Todd, you look at the line. That hit, Rosario's hit could have been caught. This doesn't look as bad. 5 in the third, 8 hits, 4 runs.
So you see the pocket of action. You know what I mean? It's like he's got, you know, tonight it was like he was teetering on that big inning, or I should say avoiding that big inning, and it ultimately got him in the 6th.
Yeah. Was scattering hits, but managing
well, there
the game.
there was only 1 hitless inning.
We'll go to the bottom of the 8th.
Here's your T-Mobile built for baseball moment. Mickey Rojas taking Zach Wheeler deep. Now, he hasn't given up too many home runs this season. That's a little bit earlier this year. That one is tonight. The 102nd pitch from Wheeler. Impressive stuff. And Wheeler has been very dominant. 20 innings against the Marlins this season. 2 walks, 24 strikeouts, an ERA of 1.80. Well, Rojas responsible for driving in 3 of the 4 earned runs.
Sierra with a pop-up back to the Diamond Club seats off Seth Lugo, who was in the rotation May into June. Most of his appearances, 32 in relief this year with a 2.44 out of the pen. In a, as we mentioned, this revamped Mets bullpen with Familia in Oakland. Lugo is in there. We'll see Kesselman in the series late. Blevins is an option. Big swing and a miss. Bobby Wall's a big arm they got from Oakland they're getting a look at. Ground ball again over to third. Frazier, he had to go quick to get the speedy Sierra. 0 for 4 tonight for Magda Reese, 1 away. Marlins live post game presented by WB Mason coming up after our ball game. Nelly and Jessica have the highlights, reaction. Don Mattingly's press conference, a whole lot more coming up. Andy's 0 for 2 with a walk in the ball game.
Well, Lugo has transitioned from the rotation into the bullpen. He's done a pretty decent job, although he's been struggling a little bit of late. 3.84 ERA on the season. 5 earned runs in his last 10 innings out of the bullpen.
Another one over in the direction of Todd Frazier. High throw, but it is in time to get Anderson for the second out of the frame. It's very chatty there, Frazier, with Ahmad Rosario after each routine ground ball. Now, unlike you, Todd, I bet he does talk to the umps quite a bit.
Todd Frazier?
Yeah. Isn't he talking to everybody?
I think so.
Every time you look. He's chatty.
Very, very cordial. Correct. Todd Father has a lot to say.
He does. Now, would you say most players are not like that? They're in their zone. Well, how would you categorize the...
Yeah, I definitely think it's unique. But it is Todd Frazier's personality. I mean, believe me, everybody around baseball knows him for it. It's honestly very enjoyable. I wish probably more players wish that they were more like Todd in that they had the ability to do that. I even wish that upon myself. My wife Marsh used to tell me this all the time. Like, you're the nobody wanted to talk to you on a baseball field because you look mad and angry all the time. Like, you know, been there, done that. And that's kind of the way that I was raised, even from my early years with the Los Angeles Dodgers. The idea was that, you know, act like you've done it before. But with Todd, that's his personality, and his personality plays out. He has fun. He has fun with the fans. That's good too.
It probably helps when you're going through slumps and when things aren't rolling that you have a kind of let it slide off your personality.
Yeah, maybe that slump doesn't last so long.
Yeah.
Right?
3-1 on Romuto, who snapped his hitless string last time up with a double, snapping that 0 for 23. Boy, the Marlins sorely need JT to get back to where he was, as this offense almost in a parallel form has not scored too many runs without him. That's a lot to put on his shoulders, especially now with Borg on as well. It is a team effort, but he's in the middle of virtually everything offensively for Miami.
Well, JT just needs to be himself and not try to do too much. I think that will be the challenge for the remaining games this season. You're absolutely right. It's going to hit smack dab in the middle of that lineup. The point being,
just got under that one. Skies it high to right field. Nimmo will make the play. Marlins are done here in the 8th. 6-2 New York.
every out-of-market regular season game live or on demand at home, in your office, or on the go with MLB.tv. Your subscription includes MLB At Bat Premium, allowing you to watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
Adam Conley is in for the Marlins here to pitch the 9th inning. Conley's 13th game against the New York Mets. He's 4-1 with a 1.75 in his career against the Mets, including 7 starts. This will be his 34th appearance on the year.
Yeah, he's been throwing the ball pretty well this season. He's had a few bumps along the way. 345, you mentioned it, 31 innings. I love the 34 strikeouts and that newfound velocity that we see regularly from him. 94, 96. Slider coming along, good changeup to go along with it. Last time out against the Philadelphia Phillies, 2/3 of an inning on August 5th. So he's had a few days of rest, a couple days short of a week. Give up an earned run.
Jeff McNeil 1 for 4 for the Mets. He singled and scored the game's first run in the 3rd on the Conforto base hit. He chops one foul.
Conley likes to work fast. He's pitched very well at home. Marlins Park, 2.30 ERA, 17 games. This is number 18.
Line shot right at the shortstop. Rojas on the back end shows the second base up, Ramon De Jesus. He was waiting for an out call. I don't know if De Jesus gave him that. Clearly caught it in the air.
He may have been shielded just a bit by Rojas's body, so he was hesitant to give the out call.
Well, he looked at De Jesus, and then he looked over at Morales. He said, somebody give me the out signal.
Well, it's the second time tonight Miggy Rowe's gotten in the way. We were talking a little bit earlier with a play at second base, his feet in the way both times. This time his backside in the way.
His Venezuelan buddy Wilmer Flores 1 for 4 in the game. And a 1-1 count. Fouled back, 1-2. There's Jerry Blevins, the lefty. Dietrich leads off the inning for Miami, then Castro and Prado are due up. Mets have been using basically a bullpen by committee since Familia was traded. Blevins has been in there, the veteran. Lugo's gotten an opportunity. That pitch is down low. They like the pitcher they got from Oakland. Bobby Wall got a big arm. And of course Robert Gesellman as well. So that you could see any of them. Line drive down the line, that's a base hit. And going into the corner for Flores. And he's going to wind up with a double with one out. Just inside the line.
Changed his perspective just a bit after fighting off a couple of inside fastballs, like an inside-out swing. Here decides to kind of get out and around. A little bit of an in-game adjustment by Flores. He's kind of fighting off the fastball to the inside part of the plate. Ripped that one down the third base line.
Michael Conforto's had a good night, 1 for 3 with an RBI, walk, and a run scored. Conforto against lefties this year, coming in with a .248 average, actually 21 points higher against lefties this season than righties. Conley just missed there.
Pretty good pitch. Conforto gets the call. Slider away. This is exactly what Conley wanted to do. Dial up that corner, low and away.
You think umpires, when they do miss, and it's easy to see nowadays than compared to when we didn't have that box, do they usually miss on the opposite shoulder, the outside pitch?
Yeah, generally.
There's 1-2, does not offer at it.
A little farther away, you know, day and age where we know exactly what's going on. They don't. They've also got catchers, I talk about this all the time, who are doing their best to bring balls outside the strike zone back to the strike zone and deceive them. Goodness, they're only 3 feet away. The way the game works.
Oh, he struck him out anyhow. Job by Conley to get Conforto. Now he'll have to get Nimmo.
Now this slider finds its spot. Low and away off that outside corner. This one probably more of a ball, clearly below the zone. Conforto. We thought it was too close to take.
Well, he knew how close that other pitch was, and he did get the call on. So Nimmo is 0 for 4. He's the only Met in the starting 8 without a hit in the game. Mets have 13 hits. Four Mets have at least 2 hits in this game. Frazier, Jackson, Flores, and Rosario. Ahmad and Austin with 3 hit games. Good fastball. 2-1 now on Brandon Nimmo. Another strike, 96 miles an hour. Very good to see. Conley has this year regained that velocity. full count now on Brandon Nimmo. Nimmo, a Mets first-round pick back in the 2011 draft. Payoff pitch, swing, and a miss. So Conley with 2 strikeouts leaves the runner stranded at second. We'll go to the bottom of the 9th. Marlins trailing by 4. Low fares, nothing to hide. By Lincoln, join the Lincoln Summer Invitation Sales Event. And by your South Florida Honda dealers. Welcome back, Craig Minervini with Todd Hollingsworth for the series. Paul back with you when the Marlins hit the road. Busy week. Coming up with 2 games on Monday. Day-night doubleheader in Atlanta to start that road trip off. But some business here first as Jerry Blevins comes in our Florida Lottery call to the bullpen, the lefty, to start off the inning at least, against Derek Dietrich, who's 0 for 3 and happy to see anybody not named Wheeler.
Now Blevins, 3.94 ERA on the season, just over 29 innings of work. Of course, this appearance number 46. He's a left-handed specialist, and it gets Dietrich. There you go, right on that elbow.
And Dietz, who was hit 17 times last year, right on the first pitch. Look at right on that pad. Now Callaway's coming out, and he's going to make the pitching change. So the lefty specialist throws 1 pitch, and he said, "That's it." You can read his mind. He's going, "That's it." That's it. Blevins, who has closed the game last week, is out after 1 pitch. That's it. WB Mason, Jessica Blaylock, Jeff Nelson, all set. Nelly sharply dressed with a press shirt tonight. New tie. Here's Drew Smith from Crowley, Texas. Jessica looks great, of course, too. 24-year-old right-hander.
2.57 ERA, 7 innings of work. You see the 4 strikeouts, throwing the ball pretty well of late. Last 2 times out, scoreless. 2 innings against Cincinnati, 1 inning against the Nats. Smith's got a good arm, throws hard.
Mentioned the Mets are getting a look at they have a lot of young, hard-throwing pitchers in their bullpen, and they're getting a good look now. That curve smacked back by Castro out of play. Smith picked up last season in the Lucas Duda deal with the Tampa Bay Rays last July. Ground ball right back to the box. Smith throws to second and then off to first for the double play.
And I'll tell you what, that was a nifty turn by McNeil. Smith fields it cleanly. The throw to the third base side of second base. Watch this, gets pretty quick. There's a bit of a moving target, so McNeil's got to reach across and then redirect back to Flores and able to pull it off. Nice turn by McNeil at second.
Marlins down to their last out. Martin Prado is 1 for 3. Tomorrow's Dominican Heritage Night. Jessica, Nelly, the pregame at 6:30. We'll have the call at 7. Come on out, make your plans, or tune us in right here on Fox Sports Florida. Game 2 of the series. Sunday afternoon game and then the road trip. 2-0 count on Prado. Fastball away. Mets starting a very strange trip of their own here tonight. Have you heard of the 10-day, 11-game, 5-city road trip?
I have heard about it.
You heard that?
I do. I know there's some
kidding?
makeup games in there. 4 teams, 5 cities, 11 games, 10 days. That's how you say it. 3 in Miami, obviously against the Marlins. Go back to the Bronx and play the Yankees.
That's a makeup game on Monday night.
Correct. You got 2 in Baltimore, 4 in Philadelphia, and oh, by the way, 1 in Williamsport, Pennsylvania.
That's the Philly series of that Little League Classic they've been doing. That's the 2nd year, so that is a strange one. If you like to unpack, this is your kind of trip. And pack. Rafael Ortega called up from New Orleans. Prado will go uncontested to second. Ortega 1 for 3.
He has been ready to swing the bat tonight. He hasn't seen too many pitches. That only the 5th one. Line drive base hit to center field his last time up.
Fouls one back. Marlins have the Venezuelan connection here with Prado, Ortega, and Rojas back to back to back in the lineup. There is another proud young man from Venezuela. 0-2 pitch down low. Well, the Marlins did have some chances here. They left runners on base in the 3rd, 4th in scoring position, the 5th and the 6th. Left a man on second in each of those innings. But they only mustered a few hits against Zach Wheeler. Wound up giving up 4 hits. They didn't get their first till the 5th inning. And really didn't threaten the Mets too much in this game. Rojas, the 2-run homer in the bottom of the 7th. Two to Ortega, hits sharply. It's a fair ball, and Flores gets to the bag to end the ball game. Good play by Wilmer Flores on a strongly hit ground ball toward first. So the Mets win game 1 of this series by the final of 6-2. They out-hit the Marlins 13-4. Marlins left 5 on. The Mets left 8 on. Wheeler got the win. He's 7-6. Urania takes loss 3-12. More coming up on the W.B. Mason Marlins Live postgame.